The next paper is by Commander Rohan Joseph. The author is a commander of the Sri Lankan Navy. His research interests include maritime security, maritime terrorism, and peace and conflict resolution. He has presented 3 consecutive papers at the KDU Research Symposium since 2011, mainly in the field of maritime security-related issues. He has represented the Sri Lankan Navy and the Sri Lankan Coast Guard at a number of local and international forums. At present, he works as the commander of Coastal Protection Squadron. He is going to speak on Sri Lanka fishermen, a potential maritime security concern. Over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon, distinguished gathering, ladies and gentlemen. At the very outset, I just want to state here the opinions expressed here are purely mine, and they do not reflect the official viewpoint of the Sri Lanka Navy. The topic that I've selected this time is about Sri Lankan fishermen. How can they become a maritime security concern to our country? A sequence of the presentation is shown. I'll be touching upon all these areas. Now, Sri Lanka stepped into a new era, especially after year 2009. And since then, we have been focusing on achieving sustainable development in many areas. I think tasks that lie ahead of us are much more challenging than, obviously, winning the war. So we have formed a grand strategy in order to become the wonder of Asia by encompassing key elements, 5 key elements, into a hub concept. And I strongly believe the maritime component or the naval hub is a paramount factor in this regard. Now, as an island nation, we surely need to look at the sea line of communication which run across our country, and we need to see how best we can effectively utilize our EEZ, and apart from that, what available marine resources we have, and also how to place maritime governance in our maritime domain. Now, most of us tend to believe since 2009, as we do not have a visible enemy out at sea, our seas are safe. I think not having a visible enemy out at sea does not in any way mean our seas are safe. We have different challenges coming in different shapes and forms. So, especially the peaceful maritime environment that is there today helped 2 industries in particular, that is tourism and local fishing industry. Now, many tend to view fishing industry as a very innocent industry, but I strongly believe we need to have close eyes on them, because if we can look at them in a better aspect, we can better comprehend the maritime challenges, security challenges they're going to pose us. In this context, I was wondering, when we have a sizable navy and a coast guard in certain areas, how can local fishermen's activities could emerge as a maritime threat to our country? Now, we quite often see maritime security and maritime safety being used in connectivity. But if you define them, maritime security is all about protecting your maritime domain against threats and intentional unlawful acts, while maritime safety necessarily talks about protecting your maritime domain against accidental or natural danger and damage to environment. The vastness of the ocean around us have hindered our effective capabilities in monitoring activities, and we cannot place 100% perfect regulatory mechanism all around the country. Now, this is the area where illegal activities come into place. Now, looking at Mumbai attacks, I think very clearly will give an idea. Even though having one of the largest or most sophisticated maritime surveillance mechanisms, a fishing boat penetrated their defenses. That shows the vulnerability. Now, looking at the fishing industry in Sri Lanka, I think Sri Lanka is one of the earliest countries in South Asia to consume fish. But my interest is on the stats on economic aspect. Now, especially after 2009, the fishing industry gradually developed, and it contributed to the economy to a greater extent. More data on economic aspects. But if you look at the statistics on fishing boats, we have over 62,000 fishing vessels of all types. Mind you, that's a huge fleet, both inland and out in the marine domain. So most of us have not focused on the inland water activities to date. So definitely fisheries activities will continue to grow. So therefore we need to pay close attention to inland operated vessels, vessels that are operating closer to our shore, vessels that are operating in our EEZ, and importantly, vessels that are going out to high seas. As I mentioned earlier, challenge is enormous to Sri Lanka. No country in the world is capable of ensuring 100% maritime security. Now, this is the area where illegal actors exploit. And especially before 2009, we imposed certain restrictions on local fishermen, starting from the amount of engines they can use, the horsepower, all the way up to establishing fishing marshalling points. Now, the Navy established over 170 fishing marshalling points at strategically and tactically important locations. They were the eyes and ears. We kept on checking these boats. Now, after 2009, what happens? We started relaxing those restrictions in order to assist the local fishing community to engage in their activities. Unfortunately, analyzing of last 4 to 5 years of incidents related to local fishermen, we have seen some of them have either directly or indirectly engaged in illegal activities, ranging from human smuggling all the way to engaging in unsafe leash activities. And importantly, we also need to pay attention to activities that are taking place across the Pork Strait, because that is crucial for both India and Sri Lanka. Now, human smuggling is a direct involvement of fisheries industry. Fishermen have provided the platforms, even the services of being a navigator all the way from Sri Lanka to Australia. And it was a very sensitive issue to Sri Lanka in 2012. With the great help from Australia and the contribution from the Navy, we controlled the situation to a greater extent. And apart from that, drug trafficking, you must be coming across quite often drug seizures both on land, ports, and coastal areas. Now, according to UNODC, maritime interdictions is greater than land interdictions in terms of drugs. So this proves the vulnerability of the maritime domain. We need to have a close eye on our seas. Now, when looking at the drug trafficking incident, we see very clear relationship between the Indian fishermen and local fishermen in terms of trafficking drugs. And this is a very sensitive area. These are some of the stats in 2013 areas. You can very clearly see northwestern and western coastal belt, and also in 2014, some of the apprehensions that we made. Now, gold smuggling is another illegal activity fishermen found to be actively engaged in. Now, it says that international gold smuggling racket centered on the Colombo, Kochi, Chennai based axis. Now, that's a very serious comment. And very recently off Talemana, I think we apprehended the police over 70 million rupees worth of gold, and gold and drug goes in hand in hand. They've been trafficked together. Now, we talk about Indian fishermen poaching in our waters, but unfortunately our fishermen also engage in illegal fishing activities, or methods rather, in our waters, because when we talk about maritime security, it necessarily encompasses security of ocean resources. So we need to look after our maritime domain, and also we need to ensure the fishing industry is maintaining in a sustainable manner. Some of the common illegal fishing methods ranging from dynamiting all the way to use of illegal nets. Now, this has a long-term impact on the fishing industry as well as the economy of our country. Now, once again, we point our finger at Indian fishermen for poaching in our waters, but our fishermen, they generally do engage in IUU fishing in other countries. Now, looking at the details provided by the European Union in year 2012, there are 11 cases of IUU fishing by our fishermen. Now, EU is our dominant fisheries export market. Losing that will have sizable impact on our country. But I must mention here, we have taken some steps which reduce this, and we have recovered to a great extent, I should say. And importantly, once you engage in the high seas or IUU fishing, you come across with international fishermen. Now, that's the area where you have no maritime surveillance or policing out at sea. So that's a great opportunity to especially trafficking drugs. Now, this expedition was conducted in 2013, Esperanza Indian Ocean Expedition, which clearly shows how our fishermen venture into all the way up to Madagascar seas. And these are clear evidence our fishermen engage in IUU fishing in Chagos EEZ Marine Reserve. This is very sensitive. Now, when the fisherman does not have any activities to do, especially during rough seas, what they do is they take their boats and engage in leisure activities, providing tourism, give the boats. One clear thing that you can see here is none of them wear life jackets. Now, this is a major safety concern.